All right, welcome everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started with a quick welcome from Gina. Go ahead, Gina.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our program today. I am Gina. I'm the coordinator of our Veterans Resource Center at Skyline College. And for those that may not know, Skyline College is part of the San Mateo County Community College District in the San Francisco Bay Area, which is made up of 3 colleges, Skyline, College of San Mateo, and Kenyatta College. Each of the colleges in our district has a Veteran Center and a Veterans Coordinator to help connect students with resources and services for veterans in the military-connected community. We've been fortunate to build strong partnerships with each of the community partners that are presenting today. All 3 have supported our district both in person and now virtually, and the partnership is even stronger now than it ever has been. I'm excited that you have the opportunity to hear from all 3 of the organizations together in one event today. It's not often that you get these 3 wonderful resources all together in one place. There will be resources that are highlighted today that are local to the San Francisco Bay Area, as well as state and federal resource overviews. So we hope that there will be something for everyone. And now I invite the CalVet's California Transition Program team to begin.
Thank you, Gina. We will go ahead and get started. Welcome everybody for this afternoon. My name is Danielle Tran. I'm going to be facilitating a good portion of this meeting today, but we have some wonderful speakers here that are going to give you some amazing information today. So I would like to start by just doing a quick, a little bit of housekeeping. We do ask everyone to keep their microphones off, their cameras off, and that's just to maintain the bandwidth. We will have quite a few people on here today. We want to make sure that we are maximizing the internet speeds and we don't have anybody getting dropped off or kicked off. If you do get kicked off for whatever reason, just go ahead and hit that link again and we'll get you back in the meeting as soon as possible. For our agenda today, we do have some speakers from the San Mateo County Veterans Service Office, as well as someone from the Veterans Health Administration who's going to give you, like I said, a wealth of information. At the end of each of these presentations, you're also going to have an opportunity to ask some general questions. We ask if you have any specific detailed questions, you go ahead and write down their contact information and either message them in the chat or talk to them offline, as again, we do have several people on this call and we won't be able to address each individual personal question as easily as we would be able to provide some general and basic information. So with that, I would like to go over just the Zoom chat. I'm hoping that many of you guys are familiar with Zoom by now, but if you're not, you should be getting messages already within the chat function. And we ask that you go ahead and send those messages to our CalTAP questions if you have questions that you would like to ask to the speakers, or you can send a question to Richard Jackson or Ed or Kathleen, who are going to be our speakers, so you can ask those questions to them during the presentation. And so let's go ahead and get started. We're just going to do a quick overview of what it looks like to get support from different agencies as a veteran. On the federal level, that's where about 99% of your veterans benefits are coming from the Federal Department of Veteran Affairs. And then at the state level, we have some very state-specific benefits that you'll be able to access. And then on the county level, those are our boots to the ground. These are the people who, to me, are the most amazing. They're able to navigate not only the federal benefits, but the state benefits as well. They're going to be helping you get connected to those benefits on both sides. And then additionally, you have some service providers such as Swords to Plowshares, who are also going to be helping you get connected to those benefits. So this is just another breakdown of what the Department of Veteran Affairs does look like. It is broken down into 3 different administrations that kind of act independently. We'll have some more detail on that from Kathleen, so I won't go into great detail. But again, each of the administration controls different aspects of your veterans benefits. And then on the California state side, you have all of these benefit programs that will fall under just our CalVet or California Department of Veteran Affairs. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Ed from your County Veteran Service Office, and he's going to be talking to you about his program. Oh, Ed, got to unmute.
You would think I figured this out after being on how many Zoom calls, huh? Sorry about that. My name is Ed Kierkeson. I'm the County Veteran Services Officer for the County of San Mateo. I hope everybody's having a good afternoon. We're here today to talk a little bit about our services and what they mean for veterans in San Mateo County. Next slide. Thanks. So first and foremost, so what does the County Veteran Services Office do? Well, the County Veteran Services Office provides veterans and dependents free benefit information, assistance, and counseling. One of the important aspects about the County Veteran Services Officers is that we help veterans bring federal money here into the state, into the county. To give you an idea of the amount of advocacy and support that's out there in California, in 2018 through 2019, we brought in over $450 million, federal dollars in to help veterans, various different benefits. But one of the things that I'd like to stress about the County Veteran Services Office in the sort of hierarchy of veterans administrations and programs is that the County Veteran Services Office is not a part of the VA. We are accredited through Calvet. The Veteran Services representatives are accredited here. That means that they're able to advocate for you, act as your power of attorney on behalf of you in terms of your claims and benefits claims. But most importantly, it means that we represent you specifically. So when you work with a County Veteran Services officer, what we're doing is working together with you to put together a claims package that goes to the federal government or to Calvet seeking benefits. I think that to me means that the County Veteran Services officers can be looked at as your advocates and help and assist. We're here to assist you in navigating what can be a fairly cumbersome and broad-ranging set of benefits that are out there for veterans. Next slide. Okay, so just a quick list of the types of assistance that you can get through the County Veteran Services Office. So we do offer comprehensive benefits counseling. One of our big roles is that we partner with a broad network of service providers and advocacy groups at the local level, at the state level, and at the federal level. So when a veteran comes in, one of the first things we want to do is to sit down and listen to you and find out what you're here for, right? And that conversation oftentimes will spring into other conversations. What we find is a lot of times when veterans come here, their needs are pretty broad, and the services that they need oftentimes come from various different groups. We can help put together a plan to help you address all your issues. Part of that would be working with you to file claims benefits with the VA, but other parts of that could be connecting you with our partners, whether it's housing, employment assistance, supportive services, et cetera. We try to make it so that when you come to our office, we work with us, it's a one-stop shop. We try to address all aspects of veterans' needs. And some of these issues we work with you directly on. So, for example, we can assist you with accessing pension and life insurance. If you have records requests, whether you want to get a copy of your DD-214, want a copy of your service treatment records, et cetera, we can help you access those. If you have questions about discharge upgrades, we can help you with those. The college fee waiver is a program that is actually administered by Calvet, but you have to come to County Veteran Services Office, where what we'll do is we'll validate your eligibility for it and provide you with the letter that you provided the college. The college fee waiver program is probably one of our more popular programs, and for those of you that are not familiar with it, the college fee waiver assists veterans that are service connected, 0% or above, in being able to access all the state colleges for free for their dependents. And it's a program that we service almost 100 different veterans a year in helping access. There's programs with the DMV. There's a veterans designation on your driver's license. For veterans that are disabled, there's a disabled placard program and license plate program. And for veterans that are 100% disabled, there's various programs, including your motor VLF motor vehicle fee waiver. We can help you get it waived. We can also help you with other tax incentive programs. Burial benefits, DIC, which is Dependency and Indemnity Compensation for Survivors. And that's a program that helps the survivors of veterans. But I would say the most important and the biggest program that we assist folks with basically is service connection claims. We'll talk a bit about that. So next slide. Okay. So what is service connected disability? So those of you that aren't familiar with service connected disability, when you join the military, you go through a physical, and in order to be accepted into the military, you have to be deemed as being healthy, both physically and mentally. And as a result, if you leave the service in a condition other than this condition you entered in, you could be eligible for service connected compensation. What does that mean? Well, that means that if you went into the military and as a result of your service, you incurred an injury or a disease or a condition that was caused by aggravated or first diagnosed while in the military, you could be service connected for it. As long as it's an issue that you're currently dealing with, either it's chronic in nature or has residuals. And we can talk a little bit more about that. So next slide. Okay. So service-connected disability, essentially what it is compensation for any disability that you carry from your time in service. So if, for example, you hurt your knee while you were in service and you have chronic pain, you can be service-connected for it also for that. If you were in a combat zone and as a result of the combat zone, you're dealing with PTSD now, you could be service-connected for that. Service connections are basically something that happened to you during the military service. An injury, a disease, exposure, or an event that you experienced. That there is a current or condition or residuals that you're dealing with right now. And most importantly, that a link can be drawn between what you're dealing with now and your service. So how do we do this? Next slide. You can go to the next slide, thanks. Okay. So what we ask you to do first and foremost is reach out to us, sit down with us, or we can do this over the phone now today too, and tell us a little bit more about what you're looking for. A lot of times veterans aren't sure what they're looking for, and it's that conversation that they have with us where we can help explain to them all the different benefits that are out there available to them. And then as we start talking about these benefits, we can also talk to you about what the process looks like to access these benefits. In the case of service connection, the first thing that we do is we sit down with you, ask you, so what is the condition? What is the issue you're dealing with? Okay, so let's assume we have identified a condition. We're gonna go ahead and work with you to file an intent to file. And what that essentially means is that we're gonna notify the VA that we intend to file a claim, service compensation. This gives us a year from the date that that intent is filed to put together what we call a claims package, which is going to contain the evidence that helps demonstrate what the issue is, the severity of the issue, and the connection back to your service. That includes going through your service treatment records, going through your service records, working with you to collect evidence, medical statements, lay statements, for example. What we refer to as a complete package. Essentially what we do is we create a package that contains all the evidence necessary to answer the questions that the VA is going to ask. What we do then is we go ahead and submit the packet. The VA reviews the packet, and the VA will set up what they call a C&P exam, or claims and or compensation and pension exam, at a VA approved medical provider, where you'll be assessed. Once that assessment's done, the claim goes back to the VA for adjudication, and then we wait for the decision. Next slide. Before I get into discharge updates, one of the things that's really critical to understand about the CVSO is, again, we're your advocates. At the end of my presentation, we're gonna have an opportunity to do some Q&A. And I have one of our Veteran Services reps here, Rich Jackson. Rich Jackson has been doing this for years. He has worked with the VA, he's worked at the national level, he's worked here at the county level. And we have an office that has multiple Veteran Services reps, all of which have been filing claims and working with veterans and accessing benefits for years. We understand how to navigate the VA system. We understand what a fully developed claim looks like. We can give you solid information on how to proceed, what to proceed with, and what to expect. And we're with you the whole way. So if you were to submit a claim and it's denied, we assist you with the appeals process. Our job is to advocate for you. We're county employees, we're not VA employees. We do this on behalf of the county. We do this at no expense to you. Our job here is to serve you and help you helping you access all the different benefits that are out there. Another issue that we run into a lot with veterans is discharge upgrades. And there's multiple aspects to discharge upgrades, not the least of which is the ability to use a discharge upgrade to help you get a job, to help you access different benefits, but also to help you access VA healthcare. If you have what we refer to sometimes as bad paper, meaning that you have a discharge that is not at the honorable level, there's a process that you can go through to do a self-assessment. The website is listed right here. And you go on, they'll ask you a series of questions, and based on the responses that you provided, it'll give you the next steps in terms of how to collect the information to support a discharge upgrade. The Source to Plowshares program is an excellent program that works with a lot of veterans who have discharge that they do want to get upgraded. When you talk to us, we can help you in gathering the evidence. We can connect you with Source to Plowshares or other nonprofit or legal organizations that can help you with that process. But again, discharge upgrades are an issue that we help veterans with. If you have any questions about it, reach out to us. We'd be happy to walk you through the process. If you want to take a look for yourself to see what it looks like to go through that process, again, there's two websites listed here. It's a self-assessment test. It's really easy to take. Encourage you to go online, take that self-assessment, and then based on how you want to proceed, give us a call. So next slide. So for those of you in San Mateo County, we have one County Veteran Services office here. And the contact information is going to be on the last slide when we go to Q&A. If you are outside of San Mateo County, there's a few ways to go about identifying who your County Veteran Services officer would be. The CalVet handbook has a list of all the County Veteran Services offices in all the counties in California. In addition to that, next slide, you can also go onto their website. On their website, you'll see that they have a find a Veteran Services office link. Click on that. You can type in your zip code. You can type in a maximum distance. It will provide you the address of the closest or Veteran Services offices to you. Some of the counties have multiple offices. We're not as big a county, so we have one here. Or if you'd like, they also have a phone number, and that phone number is 1-844-SERVE-VET, and you can contact that number, and someone will assist you in identifying who your local Veteran Services officer is. Here in San Mateo County, though, it's us. Next slide. Now, with COVID in place, we are closed to walk-in traffic, but if you give us a call, and our main number is 650-802-6598, we will help set up an appointment with one of our Veteran Services reps. We can do a phone call, we can do a video chat, and we can do face-to-face by appointment. So give us a call, let us know how we can help you, and we'll set you up with an appointment so that we can sit down and really go through all the things that you need assistance with and start putting together a game plan to help you access those benefits. Okay, so that's a very high level overview of some of the services that we provide. For those of you really who are not aware of the County Veteran Services Office, like I mentioned earlier, I have one of my most experienced Veteran Services reps here, Rich Jackson, and Rich is going to actually be able to take some questions and answer some questions. The only thing that we ask is that you try to keep as much personal information or information specific to you out of the question, because we want to provide a generalized response that's applicable to most folks. If you have any specific questions, if you want to talk in detail about your claim or filing a claim, give us a call and let's do it one-on-one, so that way we can really have an opportunity to put everything together for you. But in the meantime, if you could just keep the questions at a general level, we'll do our best to try to answer them. So with that, let me introduce you to Rich.
Hi guys, my name is Rich Jackson. I am a veteran service rep here in San Mateo County. And like Ed said, you know, this is your chance to get general questions answered. You know, anything you guys would like some information on or have some questions about, let's have it.
Thank you, guys. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Jen. She has been moderating our chat during this portion, and hopefully you guys have been sending your questions to her. I'm going to pull my chat up in just a second to see if anything came to me.
So as of this moment, we don't have any questions other than how to find your CVSO, and that was early on in the presentation. So I did send the link for that in the chat. I also put in the information for County of San Mateo's, your Veteran Service Office. I sent that link in there also in the chat, and some other resources that you guys might need. But I'll just keep on waiting for you guys.
Well, let's take the biggest question is, how do I get service connected, right? You're out of the service, you've never, you know, filed a claim before. And the first thing you really do is you come down to our office and you sit down with us. But there's 3 simple rules that you need to understand about getting service connected. The first thing we need to understand is that, you know, something happened in service. Something happens in service, that's an injury, illness, or disease, right? Something is wrong with you today. I don't care if you got out a month ago. I don't care if you got out 30 years ago, right? It's very simple. The third thing is a nexus. And that nexus is medical information that links your current condition to your injury, illness, or disease in service. We gather that information, probably have you go to current medical treatment or review your current medical treatment. And that's how we start the process. The second thing is, the other biggest question is, how do I get an increase? The simple way to get an increase for any service-connected condition, and I always use tinnitus because tinnitus is 10%, and people call for an increase because my ringing in my ears is worse than you know it used to be. There's no real increase on tinnitus. Tinnitus is a 10% service-connected, and that is regardless of how bad it is in your ears, okay? So there are some other things and medical issues that go along with that that would be a personal call, you know, if we needed to go down that road. But it's very simple. 10% for your knee is, you know, based on pain and tender motion, right? It hurt, your knee hurts. Patellofemoral syndrome, you know, things like that. So you have a bad knee, they gave you 10%. Now your knee is worse, you're in physical therapy. They're talking about, you know, maybe they got to go in there and clean it up, or, you know, maybe you got out from Vietnam and you had 10% for your knee. And now, due to your age, they're talking about, hey, we're going to replace that knee. That medical evidence is associated with an increase in service connection. With that knee replacement comes 12 months at 100% service connection. So, you know, that's roughly $3,000 a month for 12 months, you know, to 13 months. And that's associated with recovery from that orthopedic appliance that was installed in your knee. They're going to cut it out. They're going to put in a whole new knee for you. That's 13 months of service connection rated at 100%.
Hey,
Anybody
Richard,
else have anything?
I have not a question, but I know it's something that we tend to get a lot of questions about is when to get started on the tuition and fee waiver. Like what's the best steps in getting that started and getting connected for veterans that have dependents, and how many dependents are eligible? What do we need to do? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Any dependent to your marriage. The veteran has, let's say a veteran was married and had 3 children. The veteran is service connected at 0% for hearing loss. All of his dependents are eligible for the California Fee Waiver program. And if he got divorced and then remarried, the children from that marriage that are now associated with that marriage that the veteran is taken care of now are part of his children as well. So they would be eligible. Any adopted children would be eligible. And that's, it's part of the legal process and all that, and that gets a little more different, but basically your dependents are eligible for college fee waivers at 0% or more. So 0% or more means, you have hearing loss, but it's not over 1/3 of your hearing loss. So they're not going to pay you for it, but they're going to say that your hearing loss is associated with your time in service. That is service connectable. Let's say you broke your hand in service, you don't have any arthritis and you don't have any painful motion, but that's going to be an issue later on in life. So that's a 0% service connection, right? All of those things at 0% or more are going to be eligible for your dependents to get a college fee waiver. You need to get that claim done prior to coming in and saying, I want to get my kids into college. So claims should be done. Let's say you're already service connected and your dependent child is now a senior in high school and looking to see which college they're going to get into. You've narrowed it down to 5, you're going on your visits, you put in your applications, and your child gets 3 different colleges that say, we want you to go here, get accepted to, let's say, UCLA, Santa Barbara, and Sac State. Those 3 colleges would all accept the college fee waiver. However, you can only get one. So you can't come in and say, we haven't decided, I want to send it to these 3 schools. That you only get one college fee waiver at a time. You can't come in and say, I got accepted to these 3 and I want to send them in. It doesn't work that way.
So we also have quite a few questions have come in. So we're going to kind of do a rapid fire here, I think.
No problem.
I'm going to try to get to all these, but are you guys breaking up or is it just me?
No, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Okay, the first one is, I'm a disabled vet. My daughter will be attending San Diego State in the fall. Do I have to maintain California residency?
You as the veteran do not have to maintain California residency. The dependent has to be a California resident to receive that benefit, or the college itself will deny it.
All right.
Okay,
can you get
even if you moved in, another factor to that is, say your daughter lives in Virginia and you live in California, your daughter comes into your house and wants to go to school in the fall. She will not meet the California residency requirements for that school to be at that rate.
Yeah. The next question is, can you get a service discharge upgrade with the reserves if you received a general under honorable?
You're not going to get an upgrade with general under honorable. So
okay.
the discharge upgrades are generally based on dishonorable discharge, right? Of that nature and going up. Well, that would be a personal question, but if they have a question, give us a call. Okay. Because there are a ton of extenuating circumstances. And that would be an individual conversation that we would definitely help them out with.
Okay. The next question is there an expiration date to the GI Bill that I signed up for when I joined the service?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think they just upgraded it to 15 years now.
Well, it's unlimited. The GI Bill is unlimited right now. That's called the Forever GI Bill. But if they got out prior to 2013, I believe it is.
Yeah, the old GI
then
Bill
there is a
limited.
15-year cap, I believe.
Yeah, the old GI Bill got upgraded to 15, but then it's done. The new veterans getting out, that's the Forever GI Bill. But they're talking about changing that legislation too, so who knows?
So what I can do is I will put in the chat the GI Bill phone number. It's really great. They can call and ask specifically about their GI Bill. find out how many months they have left, who they've entitled it to, all that
And
good
have your
stuff.
DD 214, because they'll ask you those questions. They'll ask you a lot of questions about your service and your numbers and all that stuff, and they'll actually pull up your file.
Great. Are the home loan guarantee VA refinancing benefits useful? Is in this SMC in this the area, the Bay Area market, is it useful?
It is. It's California Department of Veteran Affairs has a home loan program itself, as well as the Veterans Administration. Those are two tremendous programs that have great benefits. Some people want to argue that I can get a better point over here or a better point over there, but the California Department of Veteran Affairs loan, that is one of the best loans on the planet, because
I'll be putting that in the chat
Okay.
also.
All right.
Great. I was in the Army from 82 to 92, so this might be a specific question. We'll see. I got honorably discharged. Am I eligible for VA benefits, or do I have to be
Absolutely.
retired?
Absolutely. You're
Awesome.
absolutely
That
need
is
to
a great
come see
question.
some of us. And one of the big things for that era vet is deployment to the Gulf War, and the issue of those environmental hazards that you might not even heard about. But there's a lot of stuff going on, and you really need to come see somebody about your time in service and what's going on with you, buddy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That was a great question. Everybody should sign up for VA healthcare. You may not think that you're eligible. You might be eligible. Here's a question. Can I work with other offices with another office if I started a claim elsewhere?
Absolutely. It just depends on where you are and where you're comfortable with, You could be in the hospital down here in Menlo in an inpatient program and you're from Oregon, right? Of course, we're going to help you. You're in our county and we're here to help everybody, It could be that you just started a claim in Washington, maybe Nevada, or even, Texas, and you come to California now, you definitely give us a call. That's what we're here for. We're here to help everybody.
Can I add one thing to that also, though? Please be aware that essentially, per Calvet, you can only work with one CVSO at a time.
At a time.
So what you'll do is you'll sign a form with that CVSO, allowing that CVSO to be able to access your case information or your files. And it's important to keep that in mind, because the process for a lot of these claims is complicated. And so your veteran services rep or veteran services officer is going to be working with you pretty hand in hand in helping to develop that claim. So if you have multiple hands in the pot, it can make it more confusing, and it can make it so that your package can be at risk of being denied because of either erroneous information, missing information, or conflicting information. So if you are working with another county or BSO and you want to switch, absolutely. There's nothing that limits a person from working with a veteran services office. You don't have to live in that county, but you are limited to working with a veteran services officer or office one at a time.
Right. Here's a question. If I am already rated at 100%, is it worth getting a disability upgraded?
It depends, because number one, you don't want to revisit and then go backwards, right, on existing conditions. However, anytime you come up with a new life-threatening condition or illness, we're here to make sure that your family is taken care of after you pass. And if you don't get that service connection and you pass from that, then your family is losing out on benefits for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. And then I'm just gonna answer this question really quick. They asked if spouses were included in the fee waiver, and they are if you are rated at 100% by the Department of Defense. Here's another one. Does the CVSOs help with vocational rehabilitation and employment program, which is now called Veterans Readiness and Employment Program?
Filing those claims, yes. And that's absolutely, trying to get you associated with your disability and with your, re-education and retraining is absolutely. We don't have the ability to say, yes, absolutely, this is what's going to happen. It's just like filing a claim. You have to be eligible, you have to file the paperwork, and then you have to get associated with your particular counselor and your particular program.
Great. So the next question is, do you help with benefits from deceased spouse?
So the veteran passes, the spouse would call us with the veteran's military information, and we would find out what they're eligible for. Were they service connected? Were they being treated at a VA hospital? Did they pass at a VA hospital? You know, were they 100% when they passed? There's a ton of information that comes in there as far as how it will be determined to what benefit, if any, the spouse is eligible for.
Great. So it's a specific question, but I think it can go general. So it's a great example. It said, I had a broken ankle in basic training 50 years ago. The ankle is now developing a knot, a growth, giving me issues. Can I start a claim?
You need to call us. It's that simple. Like I said at the very beginning, when you got out, that would have been a 0% service connection. The idea for filing for that is what's going to protect you in the future, right? So number one, we file that claim. We get current medical evidence that says, yes, you know, this is what's wrong with your ankle today. And does your doctor think it's related to a fracture X amount of years ago, right? That's as simple as the medical information that we're looking for. That current treatment says what's wrong with you today. You broke your ankle in service. You have a growth or arthritis or, you know, bone spurs, whatever it is going on now. And that doctor's information is the link or the nexus that we need to get you service connected. That information will then lead typically to a service connected condition. Then that treatment is free for the rest of your life through the VA.
Yeah.
That can up to and include orthopedic devices, surgeries. You know, there's it. Not only that, but that claim alone automatically makes you eligible for the California Fee Waiver, right? So that one service connection, little thing happened 100 years ago. You don't think it's ever going to bother you again. And now you're like, man, I'm having a hard time. That ankle leads to an altered gait. So, you know, when you're walking a little funny, you wonder why that knee goes bad. You wonder why the hip goes bad. You wonder why your low back goes bad. All of those things tend to, you know, escalate like that. So think about that information, give us a call, and definitely bring your stuff over, and we definitely need to talk.
Rich, let me add one thing to that too. So two things. One, absolutely, issues can progress, particularly as you get older, right? It's a lot easier sometimes to get away with a hurt knee or mental health issues when you're younger. But as you get older, sometimes they become more difficult and challenging to deal with. You can always file that claim. If you think about it, we have a lot of veterans that are coming into our office who served in Vietnam who are now experiencing the symptoms of Agent Orange exposure. So it's never too late, but I do want to stress one thing. And Rich, a really good point about the service connection. You can be service connected at 0% compensability, meaning that the disability that you're suffering, that it occurred, it's a result of service and that you have residual effects, but it's not debilitating enough to be compensable. Things progress. We find that the initial service connection is the biggest hurdle to get over. Getting someone service connected is what takes the most time. So, for example, hearing. If you lost hearing as a result of your service, and a lot of people did, and you go in and it's service connected, but you're evaluated at 0%. Down the road, if the hearing starts to get worse, we can have it reevaluated, and it may reach a compensable level at that point. Think about that though with a program with an issue like PTSD, and imagine that you find yourself now having to deal with a crisis situation because whatever you're dealing with has now become severe. You're compounding that by having to go through the entire process while at the same time dealing with this severe issue. That's why we say getting the service connection, even if it's not necessarily something that bothers you tremendously now, makes it that much easier to address if it becomes a big issue down the road. So we encourage people to reach out to us, work with us, because again, getting the government and getting the VA to acknowledge that you are dealing with or you are carrying some sort of residual issues from your service is important for so many different reasons, not the least of which is if it becomes a big problem down the road, it's that much easier to get you reevaluated and taken care of than have to start the whole process from scratch. I also got a direct message that is sort of specific, so I'm going to try to generalize it, and Rich, I'll let you answer this. But essentially what it's saying is that, you know, when you're working with a VSO, you know, in the first thing you hear back is, hey, can you tell me what you want to claim, and then also share with me what your current diagnosis is? Can you walk through that a little bit in terms of what that means specifically? What are we asking for, and why are we asking for it?
Well, first of all, you know, in the days of coming in and sitting down and having a one conversation and really gathering all this information, that's the kind of thing that's hard to do over computer. You know, you shoot a little message and then this guy gets a message and then you get another message back. Our office likes to say, hey, let's put you on a time slot. I'm going to call you at 2 o'clock tomorrow or Thursday or whatever. And we need to gather all that information and have a conversation, because, you know, over the lines and all of this stuff, things get distorted and, you know, it's just harder to communicate. And maybe it's because I'm older, I don't know, but what you really need to do is identify what it is, you know, you're saying that the issue is, right? So for instance, you know, you had a bad foot, you know, you broke your ankle in service, that's bothering you. But you might be, you know, if most of us talk to you for a couple of minutes, we can figure out where you served, what kind of stuff you've been through, and figure out, you know, environmental hazards, what kind of job you were doing leads to different physical injuries and physical stressors and things like that. And definitely talking to somebody, you know, whether you're a combat vet or not, PTSD is something, we are losing too many brothers and sisters to this, you know, and, you know, we really need to be able to get to talk to you and figure out what's going on, what you're looking for, and what we can help you with. So, you know, don't just rely on that online. You know, I know there's a ton of chat rooms, and I know there's a bunch of places that are, you know, all on the computer, but I really stress you get a hold of somebody on the phone, you know, and really have a heartfelt conversation about your time in service and what it is, you know, that you need and how we can further, you know, the information to get you where you need to be. Because more times than not, we're going to find other things, you know, through talking to you, through going through your records, than you think. Am I close to your question there, Ed?
I think so. And let me just add one more thing to that. The VA is going to require medical evidence basically to support the condition that you have. So when they say, you know, diagnosis, basically what they're saying is, what is a medical professional diagnosing you with? And that's going to be part of the claims package. So you can say, hey, I've been dealing with this knee problem ever since I got out. And we'll ask you, have you seen a doctor about it? Have you been treated for it? And if you say no, well, one of the things that we're gonna need you get done is either we're gonna connect you with the VA, so you can go see a VA doctor, or if you have a private doctor, have that doctor assess you and provide a statement that says, yes, I've assessed this person and that they are dealing with this now. That's one of the first things we're going to have to do, and it's really it's one of the first things that the VA is going to require from us. Yeah,
to that, the idea that you have a sore knee is really not a good claim base, right? You have patellofemoral syndrome, you have an ACL tear, you have arthritis. I mean, these things are very specifically diagnosed. I know that for most of us in service, you go to the, you know, doc. When you do finally go, they're going to give you Motrin and say, well, you probably have, you know, this, without a lot of testing and those kind of things. That's probably what the email is alluding to, you know, as far as, you know, what's really wrong with you, what is your issue. I don't think anybody would try and do that in a rude or malicious way. It's more so of a, you know, if your leg hurts, man, I could think up 25 different things right now that could be related to that. And is it related to your back or is it related to your hip? You know, so that's a personal conversation, but we're here for you, brother. Just come on down and give us a call. We'll talk and we'll get it figured out.
Yep, I'm on mute. Thank you so much for all of that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put your website in there, your contact information in there, and then just reiterate, give them a call, you guys, if you have any type of questions, and get that appointment started. With that, I'm going to give the floor back to Danielle.
Thank you, guys. Okay, we're just going to move on because we want to make sure we have time to speak with Kathleen. But again, if you guys still have more questions, please feel free to reach out to Richard and Ed. They'll be happy to answer your questions. All right, Kathleen, let's get started.
Hi there, and I want to thank you, everyone, for taking some time to join us today. And I can just real quick give a plug to Ed and Rich and to the County Veteran Service Office. That's probably in my role at the VA Healthcare. That's one of the top referrals that I have, as I send lots of people to the County Veteran Service Office. So I definitely encourage people to reach out to them. They're an amazing resource. My name is Kathleen, and I work for the San Francisco VA healthcare system, and I work for a program called the Student Veteran Health Program. And so basically, typically when pre-COVID, a team of us were actually spending time on campus with student veterans as they, start school. We provide assistance with enrolling veterans in healthcare, and we also kind of help them navigate the system through the VA. And just, I think, kind of help with the transition that I think some people end up having. I don't actually know too many student veterans who discharge from the military, go into school and not have a few issues come up. So the goal for us is to try to be as supportive of our students and our veterans in the community as they transition into civilian life. Could you go to the next slide, please? So the quick overview I want to do about the VA, because I think this becomes quite confusing for people, is that we have the VA Department of Veterans Affairs on the federal level. And through the VA on the federal level, we have three administrations. One is the Health Administration, which is the branch that I'm in. So all of the VA healthcare centers that you have around here, the vet centers, any outpatient clinics. So like in San Bruno, there's a community outpatient clinic that's part of the health system administration. You can go to the next click over. The Benefits Administration is where lots of the benefits for like home loans, GI Bill, pensions, compensation, disabilities, all that goes to the benefits. And the way I think about these two branches and how they're different is that when I think of Health Administration, I think a lot about direct services that you will get. So it's like visiting a doctor, seeing a therapist, getting physical therapy done. So it's some actual services where when I think of the Benefits Administration, I think about money. Like what system are you, what program are you accessing that might give you monetary assistance? So that might be the GI Bill that's paying tuition, compensation, which would be a service connection, giving you money for a disability. So hopefully that helps with the distinction between those two. And they are in some ways connected, but also disconnected. So you can file a claim, get service connected, and actually never step foot in a VA health center, and vice versa. And then, yeah, we have the Cemetery Administration. There are some benefits for veterans to be buried in national cemeteries across the United States. So next slide, please. So the VA healthcare system, there's lots of misperceptions about this. And I actually should back up and say, I'm not going to go over specific. We have this amazing slide on eligibility, and I'm going to actually not go over that. And that's for a number of reasons. There are a lot of nuanced, funny things about eligibility for VA healthcare. And I think when people see that slide, they're often trying to make sense of something and may make a judgment that I don't think I'm eligible for this, and they just never try. Or my buddy wasn't eligible and I'm like them, so therefore I'm not eligible. So I think the plug I want to put in is that we're here to help figure that out. So I don't want you to feel like, oh, I need to figure this out and I'm not eligible, so I'm not going to apply, because there's a lot of errors. There's a lot of things that might make somebody eligible that they don't realize. So just as a very general, what I'm going to say is that for VA healthcare, we'll want you to have other than dishonorable discharge as a basic. And for active duty veterans, it would it's typically a 24-month continuous active duty for eligibility. So I say that, and I just mentioned that there's some caveats to that. So you could serve and end up getting out in 12 months because of an injury. The basic eligibility you don't meet. However, if you got service connected for that injury, then you might be eligible for health care. So again, you can kind of see how this can get a little bit confusing. So I really want you to lean on us if you have questions about eligibility to like work with us, because we can actually go step by step with the application, as well as go through the process and figure out whether you are eligible. And if you're not, are there these other resources like the County Veteran Service Office that we want to refer you to that might open up eligibility? And I didn't mention this yesterday, but for reservists and National Guard, you can often find, you might end up being eligible for VA healthcare if you are activated under a federal order. So that's also something to know about. We have some local veteran or local Marines, for instance, who are in the reserves who had been activated for 9 months. And many of them thought that was just a training, but it actually turned out that that was something that was considered a federal order, and all the people in that unit were able to actually, they are eligible for healthcare. So going back to this slide, so the VA healthcare system is actually quite comprehensive. If you are in the VA system, one, you're in for life. You don't get into the system and then the next year you get dropped off. Once you're in, you're enrolled, you're in. And then you can get primary care, we have specialty care, we have access to community care. So if the veteran needs services that the VA doesn't offer, but the doctor feels like you really need that, something like acupuncture, they might refer you out into the community to get that care. So it can be quite extensive. We have audiology, we have optometry, so you can get glasses. And so it's a really nice, robust list of services that you can get through the VA. We also have a full range mental health program. And I do want to put a plug for the mental health system at the VA. Sometimes people aren't quite comfortable going through the VA for whatever reason, but I think that there is a certain level of expertise that the VA employees often have about veterans' experiences. And as more veterans come in and work with us, the more specialty we get. All of your experiences make a difference in our understanding of what veterans experience in combat, as well as, any long-term effects that they might have. I think a lot of the diagnoses you hear now are actually out of us working with veterans. So it's a really nice way to kind of give back to the community by sharing your experiences and really creating a system of experts. There are emergency services through the VA. We have social work services. We have a dental insurance program that's an optional program, but that you can work, that you can pay into, and I can provide that information later. And then we have some access to urgent care and community care, as I mentioned. Next slide. So because this is pretty relevant now, we do at the VA offer testing for COVID-19, and it's based on the CDC guidelines. So you probably won't be able to go into the VA and say, oh, I just want to get tested. That they're probably not going to give you a test. But if you feel like you might have been exposed to COVID-19, you have some symptoms that you're not sure about, definitely feel free to access the VA, and we can, help get, your provider can help get you tested for that. Once the vaccines are available to everybody, they will be free of charge to veterans who are in the system. And currently they are providing vaccines to veterans that are 65 and older at this point. And then accessing care. So there are we're trying to minimize a lot of people in one place. So you can actually get telehealth appointments, not only with medical providers, but with mental health. And if you do go in person, we just, you have just the mask, and they'll do a screening prior to you going in, just for safety. I am going to put in was put in the description, and we do have a resource community sheet that provides some information about where you might get tested if you're not in the VA system, and just some other really nice resources as you deal with COVID. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned earlier, our Student Veteran Health Program is something that we're really proud of, and not every VA has this program. So San Francisco, we have essentially a team of us, as I mentioned, that are placed in schools throughout California. And our system, San Francisco VA, goes all the way up to the to the Oregon border. So we have somebody in Eureka, we have somebody in Napa, we have a representative in Santa Rosa. And so there's a group of us that are placed on site, and we provide, like I mentioned, enrollment in VA healthcare, scheduling appointments, really kind of navigating the VA system, because I think it can be really confusing and quite daunting for people. And it really only takes one bad experience for people to just sometimes give up. And so we want to just make sure that, like, if there's a misunderstanding or something's not quite clear, we can help with navigating that. You know, the worst case scenario for us is that you go to the VA and you get frustrated and you stop getting care, because that really doesn't help anybody. And you're probably, you know, you might be suffering because of that. So I'd much rather somebody reach out to me, talk to me about what's happening, and let me see if I can navigate and kind of figure out that situation with you. And we also do a series of like speaker series events, kind of like this one. Actually, this is one of them. So, and where we bring in guests to talk about various topics. And as a plug, on Monday, two of my colleagues are doing a speaker series on love in the time of Corona. So it's a relationship talk. So lots of tips and information about working and kind of living with your loved ones during this time. So that's in the chat box, and it has the Zoom information if you're interested. Next slide. So, and you can kind of click through these. So in our area, we're really lucky. We have 3 major VA systems in the Bay Area. So we have San Francisco, and as I mentioned, we go up to the Oregon border, Northern Cal, which is kind of Oakland, and it goes all the way to Sacramento to the Nevada border, and then Palo Alto, which is south of San Bruno, goes all the way down to Monterey, and then kind of loops around the southern part of the Bay Area. So we have lots of really nice choices for veterans to go to. Sometimes we have veterans who said, like, you know, I really don't want to go to a big hospital if I can avoid that. So we have lots of these smaller clinics. And so if you, you know, we're happy to kind of help find the local VA that's closest to you and help link you up with whatever system you're most comfortable with. And next slide. So why should I enroll? Well, that's a great question. So the VA provides great service. Will I say the VA is a perfect system? It is not. It's not a perfect system. It can be, you know, daunting for people. And I think just in general, VA, like healthcare in general, I think can be very daunting for people. So that still doesn't mean that we shouldn't enroll. The VA actually has, like I mentioned, a robust set of services that are available. We don't have any enrollment fees. There's no annual deductibles. There's no monthly premiums. So you're not paying out of pocket month after month for a service. And that's really expensive in general. So if you have parents or friends who are actually paying out of pocket for healthcare, it is quite expensive. So this is a really nice program that you've earned, that you can enroll, have healthcare the rest of your life, and you're not going to be paying like a monthly or annual fee. Depending on your income, you might have co-payments, but the highest co-payment we have at the VA for outpatient care is specialty care, which would be $50, and that's per day. So you could see multiple doctors in a day and get charged once, but primary care is only $15. And then medications you might have a co-payment for, and that can change from year to year. So, you know, one year you have great income, you might have a co-payment the following year. The next year, your income drops. And we've had a lot of veterans' income dropped in 2020 because of COVID. So we might have a large group of veterans who, because of income, will not even pay co-payments for visits. So we really don't want you to not go to the VA because you're worried about a bill. If you're worried, you're enrolled, you don't want to go to the VA because you're worried about a bill, come and see us. There's hardship waivers. There's lots of things that we can do to make sure you can access care without worrying if you can pay rent. We have lots of sites across the United States, and we have access to telehealth, so you can do lots of visits actually just from your home, or if you're in school, you can do it in between classes. So we have lots of options that you don't necessarily have to go into the office. And you can use VA healthcare with other insurances. So there's never a requirement that you give up other insurance. We have people who have TRICARE and the VA. We have people who are on their parents' insurance and have the VA. We have people on Medicare and have the VA. So it's not a program that you have to give up another insurance to use. Click one more time, please. You can get a VA ID card. So it's a government issued ID that gives a distinction that you are a veteran and that you're part of the healthcare system. So it's kind of a nice perk. You have access to reduced dental insurance. And that access to that insurance program is dependent on you being enrolled in the healthcare system. So that's something, once you're enrolled, we always let people know about the dental insurance program. And then again, you have access to some community and urgent care. The one other thing I want to say that's kind of a caveat to this is, and it goes a little bit hand in hand with what Rich and Ed were talking about with your VA claims. Often veterans don't want to start claims because they've never reported anything or reported an injury in service, and that's really common. So what we always recommend, or at least I recommend veterans do, is that when you are experiencing something, even if you don't have anything in your military record, you can build a record in the VA. So we want people to mention, hey, this happened in the military, and start getting care for those injuries. Because actually, regardless of whether you ultimately get service connected or not, say you have a knee injury, if you're getting physical therapy for your knee, not only will it help your claim, but also it will actually help your quality of life. If you're walking better and the injury is maintained versus getting worse, that's what we want, regardless of the ultimate claim, like whether you actually get service connected or not. So there's while the claim process and the VA healthcare are actually really separate, they can go hand in hand. And we have lots of people who never file a claim. We still want them to come in and get healthcare. That's really important. And so it can definitely help your claim, but even if you're not planning to do a claim, get seen once a year at the VA, get your physical done. So, if you do have things come up, you have a team that's ready to help you. Next slide. So I wanted to cover just a few quick myths about the VA healthcare system that I hear quite often, particularly from student veterans. So the first one is VA healthcare is only available to veterans who have a service-related injury or disability. And so the fact is that we actually have a huge number of veterans who are in the VA healthcare system who do not have any injuries, do not have any disabilities, or have not done any claims for VA through a claim disability process. So that's not to say that they don't have any injuries, but we have lots of people who are, we call non-service connected, meaning that there's no injuries that are on file through the benefits office. So they're not getting compensated for anything, but they still are eligible for VA healthcare. Another one that I've seen is, or I've heard, veterans are only eligible for VA healthcare for 5 years. And I'm going to go ahead and say that it's the VA's fault for kind of making this extra confusing. So the 5 years actually is referred to combat veterans. And the 5 years of free healthcare means that when you have been in a combat situation, when you're discharged from your date of discharge 5 years forward, you have anything that's related to combat is free at the VA. The reason the VA has done that is that we want you to have 5 years, at least 5 years, to have an opportunity to file a VA claim for that injury. That way, you're not getting charged in those 5 years for an injury. Say you had a copayment. We don't want you to pay a copayment for something that's ultimately going to be a service-related injury. So we try to give that 5 years for people to get a claim going and get all of their service-connected stuff in place. That way, after the 5 years, they often will fall into a category where they don't have co-payments moving forward. But once someone's in the VA system, they are in for life. So once that 5 years ends, it's really a matter of whether they'll have co-payments or not going forward. So hopefully that's not too confusing, but there is not really a time limit for 5 years. That we don't kick people out of the healthcare system after 5 years. The last one I want to cover, and this comes up a ton with younger veterans, is if I use VA healthcare, I will be taking services away from veterans who need care more than me. And all I can really say is that the system is in place for helping all veterans. The way that I conceptualize it is that the more veterans who come into the VA system and use the healthcare system, it's really guaranteeing that Congress is going to continue to put that budget toward the VA healthcare system. So, fewer veterans use the VA, there's going to be fewer funds. More veterans use the VA. So actually, in some ways, as you're using the services, you're actually guaranteeing that that service is going to be provided and actually maybe even expanded over time. And that really helps all other veterans. The one caveat of that I will say is that the one way you can kind of sometimes limit services for other veterans is if you make an appointment and just don't show up. So what we do ask is, if possible, if you have an appointment at the VA, you can't make it for whatever reason, just call us and cancel it. That way that time slot opens up for another veteran who might need it. And then this next slide, please. So yeah, so what we are having actually another enrollment event. So we've been doing some virtual enrollment events where you can actually meet with a number of our team members one-on-one. And we've just put that into the chat box. There's a Zoom link. You're welcome to get into that time. So that's next Thursday from 11 to 1. However, if you cannot make that, definitely email me, call me. In fact, if somebody wants me to reach out to them, that's my phone number, that's my work number. Feel free to text me now if you want, and I'll set up a time to meet up with you. And if you want to go in and join our virtual enrollment event, check out that flyer. There's a link right on there. You'll be able to connect with one of my team members. So definitely let me know if you have any questions, and thank you so much again for joining us today.
Thank you, Kathleen. So at this point, we'll go ahead and turn it over to Jen to see if we had any questions come in through the chat.
We did have a couple questions. The first question is, if I enroll in the VA healthcare, are my dependents eligible?
So typically your dependents aren't going to be eligible. The one exception to that generally is if you are rated at 100% service connected and it's considered complete and total disability. So if that were to happen, your dependents are actually eligible for something called CHAMP VA. And while we don't have pediatricians or anything, but CHAMP VA is a program that you can use within the community. And we do have some spouses of those veterans who go into the VA healthcare system and use CHAMP VA through the VA, but that ends typically when Medicare jumps in. So the vast majority of veterans' dependents are not going to be eligible for the healthcare system, but there is a kind of a fraction of people who end up being eligible because of their disability rating.
Okay. So the next question is, can you repeat the last statement in reference to that 5 years myth that was about what happens after 5 years, I guess?
Yeah, so say you are, so the 5 years, so say you're a veteran who had some combat experience, and we call that, it's actually called combat veteran status in the VA. So when you're discharged, the 5 years is basically the VA saying, hey, come into the VA. We're not going to ever charge you anything that's based on, you're not going to have any co-payments, nothing for being seen by a doctor, mental health, medications. But we want during those 5 years for you to work with a county veteran service office to get service connected if you have some injuries. And often people who have been in combat have some injuries. So we want to give them a chance to get that before co-payments might jump in, might start taking place. You can still do a claim afterwards, but we really want people to come into the VA, not be worried about a bill, and still get the care but not get charged for it. So after the 5 years, so say someone discharges 5 years later, their combat veteran status expires in the VA, they still stay in the VA. They just might start getting charged co-payments if they're not service connected. So it's really a way to, I think, just try to make people feel comfortable coming to the VA where they don't have to worry about getting charged for things that really could be injuries that have happened in service. I mean, you go and serve in a pretty stressful environment with lots of potential injuries, and then you come to the VA and we're billing you. We're trying to avoid that by making sure that you get connected with the correct resources and get that service-connected disability in place. And you can start, building your case and getting if you need physical therapy, you can get that at the VA without getting charged for it. So we want to really support people healing, but also, create these avenues that they're not avoiding the healthcare because of money reasons. So hopefully that makes sense. And if you have a specific question about your specific situation, definitely text me or email me and let me know, and I'm happy to reach out and kind of go over that a little bit more. It's a bit confusing.
Yeah, I agree. So another question we got was, it says, I thought I had to be 100% to get dental.
Yeah, so the dental program is kind of separate. So we have, the 100% getting dental at the VA. So we do have a dental clinic, but actually getting routine visits and like cleanings at the VA, you do have to be 100% service connected. But obviously that leaves this huge gap for most other veterans who don't have a disability at 100% or don't have one other thing is that you can have an injury. Like we had a veteran once who lost a tooth in basic training and they got service connected for dental. So they'll get covered in dental, but there's really a huge number of veterans that don't get regular basic dental care at the VA. And I really think actually it's because we don't have enough dentists or enough time to do 2 cleanings for every veteran every year. We'd have to have a cleaning service nonstop. So the VA created the Veterans Dental Insurance Program. So the way that works is the VA pays for a portion of a premium and it offers programs to veterans at lower cost. So right now we currently have a contract with Metlife and Delta Dental, and those two, they provide a few different plan options. If you are interested in that, you would actually sign up with the insurance directly, pay the insurance, see one of their dentists in the community, and the VA is just paying some premiums in the background. So you won't have to deal with the VA at all, but it just offers an opportunity to have some dental coverage at a little bit of a lower cost than if you were to go try to buy it on your own. So it's a really nice program, but again, that's tied in with the enrollment in healthcare. So once you're enrolled in the healthcare, you can sign up for the dental if you're interested. It's totally optional, but it just is an opportunity for the VA to help out getting dental, because that's a really important health thing for all of us to take care of, and it's really expensive to do it on your own. So I'm happy to send that out to you guys as well.
What a great benefit. Wow, that's some great news.
Yeah.
I might be signing up for that myself.
Yeah.
Another question is, can I be enrolled in more than one VA healthcare system? And I think you did answer this earlier.
So that can be a little confusing. So yes, you can. So the way I think about the VA is that we have so many sites in the United States, but you'll hear about like San Francisco VA, Palo Alto VA. These are 2 different systems. So when I think about it, like when we get you enrolled in the healthcare system, so say I got you enrolled, you'll be in the San Francisco VA system, but you're also in the VA cloud. So you're up there. The reason we don't automatically put you in every system or every computer in the United States is that for privacy's sake, I don't want someone from Georgia having access to your medical records who shouldn't have it. With that being said, you can get registered at as many VAs as you want. You can go to Palo Alto VA, you can go to Northern Cal, you can be in all of the systems that you want. You'll just need to have one place that's off doing your primary care. So you can't have primary care doctors all over the place. You just want to have one team. And that's really for your own benefit. It's too confusing to have multiple doctors. So if you get seen at the VA in San Francisco, but you visit your family in Oklahoma and you're in the VA system there, if you get sick in Oklahoma, go to the VA, but your primary doctor is going to be in your site in San Francisco. We have a lot of people who get sick, for instance, on vacations. If you find a VA and you're sick, go to the VA. They'll just need to download you into their system. That way they can see your chart, but you can get care there. It's just you don't want to have primary care doctors everywhere.
Absolutely.
They actually just won't let you do that.
Absolutely. That is so awesome. That seems to be the last of the questions.
Perfect.
But I'm sure there might be some more at the end of the whole presentation. We'll do some more questions and answers, and there might be some more for Ed and for Richard also. So, all right. Well, thank you so much, Kathleen. You gave us so much great information. I know I'm going to apply for those different benefits myself. So thank you very much for everything that you do for veterans and students and their family members.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. So we're going to get started with doing a quick overview of what the California Transition Assistance Program is and kind of what our goal is, and just a little bit more about CalVet in case you guys don't have that much information about it. So CalTAP is designed to inform and connect all veterans of all eras to their earned state and federal benefits. And we do that primarily through our 5 pathways: core curriculum, education, employment, entrepreneurship. And then that 5th pathway is for service providers, for those who are actually serving veterans. So you can get more information about all of your veterans benefits in the Veterans Resource Book. We have actually finally entered a new production year, and so you might be finding that there are some actual physical copies of the new edition of this book available. It hasn't been available for a long time. So if you can get your hands on a physical copy of this, we highly recommend it, but it's going to list in great detail what your state benefits are. So how can you use CalTAP online? So we're going to go to CalVet's main webpage, calvet.ca.gov, and we're there on that front portion of it. And you'll see the CalTAP banner there with that computer. We'll click on that, and there you can get access to all of our pathways that I mentioned. I also want to point out, in addition to everything that we've been doing, since we're no longer able to do in-person meetings and trainings and giving you guys this information, we have been doing webinars for the past year. And many of our webinars, almost all the way up to a year from last year, are available for you guys to go ahead and view. So this webinar is being recorded. So for those of you who may have signed on late or who may have gotten dropped off from the call for whatever reason, this webinar is being recorded. And within about 24 hours, it will be available for you guys to view, along with a copy of this PowerPoint presentation. So again, we don't ever want to hide the information for you guys. We just kind of wait till the end to get everything put up to make sure that we're giving you guys the most up-to-date information. So I'm going to go to that core curriculum pathway. And what I really want to point out here is just how to get more information about what your California specific benefits are, because that's what we're talking about here today, getting access to your state and federal benefits. So on the California side, you're going to go to Module 5 and you'll be able to look up all of your California benefits. So exactly what are those? So this is going to show you kind of a list of what those are. And these lessons, as we break them down and call them, you'll be able to pull up a PDF document that's going to show you exactly what they are in great detail. Some of them may even have links of where you can apply and get applications for specific programs, because even though, yes, these are all of the California state benefits, a lot of them aren't actually managed here at Calvet. As Richard and Ed were saying earlier, the tuition and fee waiver for your dependents, for example, it's a California Calvet benefit, but it's actually has to be applied for at their offices. So it might have links for that, for the application there. So again, as I said, in your Veterans Resource Book, your California state benefits are going to start on Chapter 1, and that's where we'll be able to get a list of those. So what are your California specific benefits? I really liked what Kathleen was saying about making sure you're using these benefits, not to look at it as a way of taking benefits from future veterans. It's exactly like she said with the federal side. If someone in the legislature of California says or finds out that a lot of veterans aren't utilizing these programs, they're probably going to get rid of them. So take advantage of that college tuition fee waiver, you know, getting your dependents cared for to be able to have that, to have this fee waiver. And so I like to point out that we know it's called a college tuition fee waiver for veteran dependents. And so that kind of sounds like, you know, they're still depending on you for financial assistance, but it's really just your children, you know. So for me, I am 36 years old. My father is a veteran. And if I were eligible for this fee waiver, I could still use it even though he does not pay for anything for me. So look at it that way. Your children, no matter how old they are, they can potentially, if they qualify, be able to use this fee waiver in order to pay for their college tuition at a California State Community College, State College, or the University of California. So just something great to keep in mind. And then you have that veteran's driver's license, which is to have veterans put on your driver's license so you're not having to carry around your DD-214 in order to get access to benefits and other discounts that organizations might be offering you as a veteran. You might be able to access that motor vehicle registration fee waiver that Ed was talking about earlier. You can get a reduced fishing and hunting license. You can get no cost for state parks, and you might be able to qualify for a disabled veteran property tax exemption. There's business tax and fee exemptions, Calvet home loans, as Ed was talking about earlier. You can use this in conjunction with your VA home loan guarantee. This is the state of California actually acting as a lender. They're giving you money to actually purchase a home, and there's some different benefits available to you as a vet if you're using the Calvet home loan. So just again, something to consider. If you want more detailed information about any of the things that I'm talking about here today, please go to our recorded webinars. We actually have at least 2 webinars on just the Calvet home loans alone, where we're just talking about that. And then some other webinars where we go into a little bit more detail about this. Again, we just want you guys to know what they are. We're not going to go into a lot of great detail. We really wanted you to be able to focus on talking to the people and getting, you know, answers from the people who are, you know, the boots on the ground helping you. So you're more than welcome to reach out to us at any time if you want to know about any of these benefits or if you want to go to our website. The information and the access to that, the help and support is always there. So just a really, really brief overview of what those are. But again, if you have more questions on what your California specific benefits are, please feel free to reach out to us. So, and in addition to our program, you can also get access to finding out more about our other specific Calvet programs. So CalTAP is one program, but you also have minority veterans and women veterans. So if you want more information about any of these, you can go onto the website and get more. So I'm going to be talking to you guys about your local interagency network coordinator. And we don't have one on today, but their role is very, very important as well, because each network coordinator is very, very in tuned and entwined with the benefits and resources that are in your very specific area. So in the Bay Area, that's that little green area there. Your link would be Kevin Graves, and he's going to know about all the things that are available to you guys in whatever county you are that he serves. So he has Sonoma County, San Mateo, Santa Clara. Like, he's going to know what specific benefit they're offering for these specific counties. Like, that's his job. That's what he's there to do. And so likewise at the other 7 regions, they're very in tune to those local things that are going to be able to help you get access to additional benefits. Because there might be some things that specific counties might be offering to you. So it may not just be a state agency that's doing something for veterans. It might be a local county one, and you're going to want to know about that if you're looking for some additional assistance and support, maybe not for yourself, but for an older loved one. So it's very, very important to be able to get in contact with these links. And we're going to have Kevin's information here in a little bit bigger for you guys on a later slide. And I believe Jen will be sending this in the chat, and you also should have received a link for this in your Eventbrite reminder email. So what do the links do? They provide outreach to service members, veterans, and their families. They make referrals and work directly with established service providers. They often assist with local emergencies, depending on what's going on in their areas. A lot of times, if there has been an emergency, they're going to go and make sure that veterans are getting connected to their benefits, or if they've lost their DD-214s or other service records, they're going to make sure that they're helping them directly get access to those files again. They're also providing leadership and advocacy for local communities, again, for your benefit. So they're there to speak on your behalf and hopefully advocate on your behalf on making sure that veterans are getting the support and assistance they need locally. They also are, like I said, connecting you guys to your benefits. They have some great links with the Employment Development Department. So if you guys are looking for some assistance with getting some job training or job support, you can contact your local link and they'll be able to help you with this. They're working as well with the Americans Job Centers of California, again, to help you guys make sure that you're getting that support. They're going to work in addition with the County Veteran Service Offices in Calvet and getting access to your state benefits. And then they can also give you some resources and connect you with, managing your VA healthcare. So for example, if Kathleen wasn't on today, or, you had some questions about getting help from, or getting connected with your VA healthcare, if you only had your link's number, they would be able to make sure they gave you Kathleen's information or they gave you Ed's information to make sure that you are getting that assistance and help. That's their job. They want to make sure they're getting you to a direct person who can assist you with whatever you need assistance with. So here is Kevin's information. I'm going to go ahead and leave this up for a little bit. I know Jen's really on the chat. She might have already sent his information in the chat. So I'm going to leave this up for a second because I do want you guys to be able to contact him. This is his cell phone and they want you to call them. That's their job. They're very eager to help. They're very passionate about helping. Kevin is also a veteran, so he's very familiar with what you guys have had to go through once you've been out, once you've been in service. He's very passionate, and we love seeing him in the office. That's one of the things we do miss about being able to be in the office is getting some visits from our links sometimes. But please reach out to him if you ever have any questions about anything. So at this point, I think that's it for us. Yep, here's my contact information. It's going to be on the end again. But like I said, if you have any questions about anything I talked about today, I know we went over them very rapid fire. We wanted you guys to have more contact and more information with Kathleen and with Ed and Richard than CalTAP, because we're always here ready to answer emails, ready to pick up that phone and hear from you guys. But if you have any questions about what we've talked about, please feel free to reach out to me. And then here's our contact information for everybody that spoke here today, as well as an email for Skyline College Veteran Resource Center. Jennifer has been running the chat for us. She's doing a fantastic job. And we had Kathleen and Ed and Richard as well. So do we have any more questions there, Jen?
We do not have any questions. There was a question, but I was able to answer it. It was more specific. So,
awesome.
but it looks like we're good to go.
Awesome. Okay, so again, if you have any more, we still have a little bit of time before our webinar is over. We did really good. It's over at 4:30, but again, if you guys have questions, we'll stick around as long as we can to get those answered. We don't want to just cut you guys off, but I'm going to just go to the next slide. I want to point out that we do have more webinars coming up. So even those we're partnering with Las Positas or with CSU Fullerton, you guys are invited to join. It's not information that we try to keep secret. We want you guys to have access to this. We want you guys to join if you can. So we do have these that are currently live on Eventbrite. Always check daily if you guys can, because we're adding more frequently. We're always pretty busy here. We're actually a little bit busier doing webinars than we were in person, which we don't mind because we're able to actually reach more veterans. But again, I'll put our contact information. The general CalTAP line, any one of our CalTAP training coordinators will answer that. But if you want to reach out to us specifically, you can email Jen or myself. The 1-800 number is answered by one of our links. So that's who you'll get when you're calling that phone number. But again, you're not going to get some robocall. You're actually going to get connected to an actual person. So I will go back to the contact slide, because I want to make sure you guys have time to look at that. And we'll give you guys a few minutes. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. If not, we want to thank you guys for joining us on behalf of, San Mateo County and their community college school district. We are grateful for the opportunity to be able to talk to everybody and provide this space for you guys to get connected to services that will help you guys. If anyone else wants to close out, you're more than welcome to. Gina, you might still be on, or Ed, or Kathleen, or Richard. Please feel free to do so.
I just wanted to put another plug in for, we have the speaker series on relationships, and there's a flyer in the chat box for that. So I think that's going to be really fun and interesting. And then we have the enrollment event happening for the next 2 Thursdays, and there's the flyers in the chat box for that. And again, I wanted to thank CalTAP for being such great moderators and organizing this with us. And again, you utilize Ed and Rich. It's such a wealth of information. And I learned something new today and yesterday. So they're a really great resource. So definitely hit them up for any questions you have. And thanks again for everyone to show up today.
Thank you so much, Kathleen. We really appreciate any opportunity to partner with everybody. We know that we're not always the, what is the word I'm thinking of? We're not always the experts, but we want to make sure we're connecting everybody to the experts. So it's very important to us to make sure we're getting everyone the best information. Oh, one thing I did forget to mention is, I don't know if Jen sent this in the chat, but you also should get an email asking you to do a survey for how we've done today. We really take your feedback very, very seriously. We look at our evaluations team looks at every survey that they receive, and they're putting together all that data to make, continuous improvement for our program. So if you guys have an opportunity to go ahead and, give us a your quick thoughts on how we did today, please let us know. We appreciate your feedback.
And just a quick thank you again from Skyline College and from the San Mateo County Community College District for all of the presenters who came today to share this wonderful information. As I mentioned in my welcome, it's not often that we have all 3 of you in one place. So really appreciate the continued collaboration, and looking forward to providing some future webinars and presentations with the team as well.
Thank you, Gina. Okay, everybody, with that, I think we're good to wrap up. Thank you guys for joining us. Please enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe, take care, and we'll hopefully see you guys on another webinar.